The Lord be with you. Reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Then they came to Capernaum, and on the Sabbath, Jesus entered the synagogue and taught. The people were astonished at his teaching, for he taught them as one having authority and not as the scribes. In their synagogues was a man with an unclean spirit. He cried out, "What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." Jesus rebuked him and said, "Quiet, come out of him." The unclean spirit convulsed him, and with a loud cry came out of him. All were amazed and asked one another, "What is this? A new teaching with authority? He commands even the unclean spirits, and they obey him." His fame spread throughout the whole region of Galilee. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
I've been hanging with my cousin Riley a bit these last few weeks, and he's got a ministry using horses to help troubled boys kind of get their head straight. And so it's a really fun program, and he's kind of got a whole kind of theology behind it, and I don't even know what you'd call it. I don't know. Equine theology, I don't know. But it's really cool the gift he has that he's able to share using the horse and rider analogy. And the basis of it is this notion of authority, authentic authority, okay? And that naturally we resist authority. It's just part of our human nature. We see it up and down throughout history. I think there's something in all of us that resists authority, right? But that's kind of at the basis of our relationship with God. So here in today's gospel, the people were astonished at Jesus' teaching, and they say that first, he taught them as one having authority and not as the scribes. And then they asked one another in amazement, "What is this new teaching with authority?" Right? Jesus teaches with authority, and it's appealing. It's good authority if we choose to obey it, right? So going back to that kind of horse and rider analogy, hey, when you're in training a horse, it wants to rebel against the rider or the person training it because it has fear of that person. So the idea there is to turn the thing that the horse is scared of into the thing that it finds safety in, right? The thing that it's running from into the thing that saves it, which is you in the round pen with it. So you got this horse spinning in the round pen, it's scared of you, and then pretty soon it says, "Hey, I'm not scared of you, you're not something to be fearful of, and I can actually trust you, and I will follow you." And when the two hook up like that, it's a beautiful experience. Horse and rider, it's a great thing. But when they oppose each other, it's a very frustrating thing. If any of you have ever ridden a stiff-necked horse, very frustrating, right? But have you ever ridden like a just true soft horse that wants to do what you want? It's a beautiful experience. That's what we're shooting at with God, right? To be so in tune with the Lord that we just move with him and act with him, you know? It's fun for the rider. It's fun for the horse too. So what's this look like, this kind of authority? I don't know. It first takes a surrender. It first takes us trust that God is not out for our to dampen our fun or to ask us to do something we don't necessarily want to do or desire to do. He wants us to be motivated by the Spirit that's within him, all right? So our psalmist says today, if today you hear his voice, harden not your hearts. Like really, all we need to give God is an open heart. It's so frustrating when we are closed-minded, closed-hearted. It's so frustrating for God to work, I believe, when I am closed-minded, closed-hearted, right? So we want to be just in tune with the Holy Spirit, right? So John Paul II, he would speak of, hey, we are to be like a violin in the hand of the Holy Spirit. We vibrate at his command, right? We dance when he acts, right? That's a good analogy to me. They're like, okay, I'm ready. Bam, he moves and I act. And it's harmonious. It's like a symphony, right? That's what we're working towards. It's not easy to get there, but realize, hey, there's something in us that rebels against authority, and that's not good. So I, as a man, a son of God, need to curb that and realize, no, I need to trust God. I need to act against that part of me that doesn't want to trust God, that's scared of him, wants to do it my way. Trust the Lord. He knows what's best for me. In that, it's fun, and we get the job done. Okay? So that's kind of my plug for today. I think what the church has is to not resist authority. It's good for us. And to train our hearts and minds to know that God has our best interests in mind, to not resist him and just run around the round pen, or even if he gets on us, to be all stiff-necked and not do what he wants, or do it out of hesitancy or things like that. No, let's be soft. Let's be soft with the Holy Spirit. Let's be like that fiddle in the hand of God that just vibrates every time the Holy Spirit moves, right? Like I say, in that mode, it's fun and we get the job done. So if you're anything like me, I always got to work against that authoritative part. So let's surrender to God, trust that he has our best interests in mind, and be like that true relationship between like a horse and rider, that we work to go together. There's a cooperation with God's grace, a cooperation with the Holy Spirit, that we may be in tune with the Holy Spirit. So, hey, the biggest thing we got to work against is that closed-mindedness, that closed-heartedness. We want to be like the psalmist today who says, if today we hear God's voice, let us not harden our hearts.